All the rituals that actors do, like taking breaths and like being silent and just like having a tuning fork and
yes,
I don't know, all the things.
Have to get grounded.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I was talking to someone the other day about just sitting in silence sometimes and just paying attention to the noises around you, like the noises of nature. It's like, because that's music too, you know? And also, sometimes the world feels like it's moving a lot faster than it actually is. And I just have to be like, okay, what's actual reality doing?
That's very true. Yeah. I kind of have to be silent when I'm directing too. Like, alone for a second and then go into the space.
Yeah. Yeah, that little moment of alone time. And it's like, oh my goodness, I'm just thinking of how, like, now I'm starting to, like, kind of work on this short film. And my producer was just like, let's do some in-person auditions on November 25th. And I'm like, maybe I need to take a step back and, like, examine how I show up sometimes, because I'm sitting here like, what the fuck? Why would we have an in-person audition 2 days after Thanksgiving? And he was just like, I'm sure people will be, you know, ready. I mean, Thanksgiving was 2 days before that. I mean, it's over. I'm sitting here like,
it depends on if they live in New York.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be in Georgia, and I was just like,
okay,
but people are gonna be. I was like, a lot of people are probably gonna be out of town, like taking up that weekend. That's a Sunday.
Yeah.
Or wait, Saturday, sorry.
Yeah, my mom's birthday is the 25th.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We have plans. Yeah, they might be with their family. Yeah, why would
Right, I was like, that's the weekend of, and if people like were off work. Yeah. I said we could, like, if you're that pressed, I was like, we could do a self-tape, like, do by then, but
no,
I was just
don't
like,
do that to people.
I was just like,
not over the holidays.
That was my thing. I said, we could just push to next week, like the week after. Like, I don't see.
No, I wouldn't do
we're not on any specific deadlines except for the ones we're making. Yeah. So I'm just like, it's okay. Like,
yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
People should relax.
Yeah, I was just like, it's giving me war flashbacks from college. Like, all those. I'm just like, we can take a break. But anyway, I have a question for you as we just kind of get into it. Yeah, for you. And the question is, if you could, like, speak to your younger self right now, do you think they would be surprised at all about any parts of you, like who you are right now? Or do you think it's kind of in line of what you were, quote unquote, I guess, expecting of yourself as an older version of you when you were younger? That was, like, complicated to say, but let me know if that's...
When is this coming out?
This is coming out, well, your episode is probably going to come out at the beginning of January.
Okay. No, is there, okay.
Do you have another question? Are you a concern?
Does it have to come out at the beginning of January?
What's the concern?
If I want to talk about something, but actually I could talk about it because January... Does anyone else see this besides you two for now?
No, just us two for now.
Okay. Okay. Grace got into Sundance.
Really?
Yeah. So I can talk about it. I wanted to say that.
I was hoping so.
Yeah.
I knew it.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
You knew it?
That's what I was thinking. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So I was like, can I talk about that? Because that's a really big thing. But I was like, but the press release comes out December 12th.
Oh, yeah. This is going to be...
So then I can... Okay.
Yeah. This is... The first episode isn't even... Because we're pushing back the first episode premiere date to mid-December anyway, so...
Okay. Okay, cool. Okay, so yeah. So it'll be out by then. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
If you want to
can't tell anyone.
Well, I'm not telling anybody, but I'm so happy for you.
Glad I was in the room.
I'm really like thrilled. Yeah.
It's very well deserved.
Thank you. It's like a dream come true.
Yes.
Wait, okay, sorry, but the question was,
I'm sitting here like, I'm glad Natalie wanted to do a video, because, like, I'm sitting here with a star. And I was like, everybody's going to want to interview Natalie.
Oh my God.
No, my thing was, when you first said you wanted to kind of, like, just go ahead and try and do the video interview. I was like, that's good, because in general, I was thinking you're probably going to be asked to be interviewed a lot in the future, just in general. So I was just like, that'd be nice if you want to do it with someone that you're comfortable with.
I know. I probably will, but also who knows?
Yeah, but also you can also say no. To.
I don't want to be that person who's like never talking or doing interviews or who's just like silent. Because there are some directors I know, and I like them, but they're never present. And I think it's really cool when people like talk about their process and their experiences and interviews and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's something that you can just get more comfortable with and like just practice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was thinking that too. It was like, I should probably get out of my comfort zone and just like do it, because I might have more, if I'm lucky, and like make more films and stuff like that.
You will.
Thank you. I hope.
Yeah.
It's hard.
But you're doing it.
I'm doing it, yeah.
You're getting it done. I'm like, props to you.
Thank you.
I already know this stuff is so much goes into production, so much goes into filmmaking, and just like so many people and so many pieces and
so many dollars.
So many dollars, yeah, that's a big one. So many dollars.
Time and sweat and tears. And yeah.
Oh, but look at how far you've come. Remember when you were like frustrated about how things were going at one point, and it was just
I'm like when? I'm like always frustrated about how things are, but yeah, no, I do. I know.
Yeah, I was just like, this is like my mom used to say, when trouble comes your way, consider it an opportunity for great joy. I was like, something big is a Bible verse. Like
really?
Something big is gonna come. It's like when you're getting that tested to that extent, I just be like, I've kind of like used that tenet a lot in my life too, because now it's just like, okay, it keeps you, number one, it keeps you from falling down too far down into a hole, if that's kind of like your MO, which for me sometimes that was a thing. And so I was just like, that's when I see it in other people, I just be like, yeah, something great's gonna come out of this.
Yeah. My mom says a really similar thing, but I didn't know that was a Bible verse. Do you know where that is?
In James chapter 1. James 1, yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
A lot. That's a really beautiful one.
I love it. You're right.
Yeah, she said something like, when you have to go through so many obstacles, there's usually something really great on the other side, which is like the same thing.
Yeah.
But I think the way your mom said it was really beautiful.
Yeah.
Or I guess the Bible says it.
Right. I said the Bible has a few bangers here and there. Like, I need to find out which translation that was.
I like that.
But anyway, yeah, my question was just about your younger self looking at you now. Like, is there something about where you, like, were dreaming of being or thought you would be? Or is there any part of where you are now that your younger self would be surprised about, or in any type of way? It could be like, oh, I didn't know I would feel like this, or I didn't know that I would be like this would be my stance on certain things, or, you know. It's that type of, like, I don't know. I just think about journaling a lot too, and I'm like, sometimes I hit a point, like talking through my thoughts, where I'm like, I never would have thought I would ever be of that position, or like I never thought I would say that, or that type of thing.
Yeah. I mean, there are so many things. I think my younger self would be, well, I mean, there are also so many versions of our younger self.
Right, yeah.
Which one?
Right, gotta pick one. There's a lot.
I know, lots of versions of myself. I was really quiet.
It sounded like some laundry was going or something.
Yeah, I think the younger version of myself would be, one, really happy / surprised that I'm, like, out and, like, queer, and happy and, like, that I have, like, friends and family who know that, and they love me and they're happy too. I think that's a really big thing. I think my younger self would also just be really surprised and thrilled about, like, where I am now in my career, like about to go to Sundance Film Festival with my short. That's been, like, a dream of mine for so long.
Yes.
I remember when I was in high school, I would go on Vimeo and I would watch, like, all of the short films that were available online that got into Sundance.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I would watch the interviews and, like, stalk the filmmakers and be like, oh, I want to be there one day.
And now there's some little girl that's going to be doing that to you.
Yeah, which is so surreal to think about, but yeah, it's true. So that's definitely a big one. And now that I think about it, I think that was almost, like, 7 years ago that I was on Vimeo and stuff like that. So, yeah.
Wow, a lot can happen in 7 years. A lot of self-discovery. Which is the topic of our episode, y'all. Hello. Welcome to 23, 24, 25, a podcast about being slapped in the face by not only 2023, but also by the wildly complicated transition that is turning 25. I'm your host, Joska, and I've invited my friends here to talk about all things life as baby adults, and today I'm joined by the fabulous Natalie, one of my first friends when I got to New York, second year at NYU, and you got to New York as a transfer student. We could talk about that if you'd like. But that was just, like, such a beautiful...
2017.
Yeah, 2017. Woo, 2017.
Hey, that was 5 years ago.
Yeah. Wow, 5 years.
Almost 6.
Wow. We're sitting here like, mine is being blown.
I know.
Mine is being blown because sometimes it feels like not that long ago, and sometimes that feels like a long, long time ago.
It feels like it was just yesterday.
Sometimes,
also not.
Sometimes I feel like the only reason why I feel like it was a long time ago sometimes is how much I've changed as a person, which is very ironically in line with this episode. But I think before acting school, I just was not as good of a listener in general to, like, the world around me. Like, I wasn't receiving things the same way. And acting school has a real way of teaching humanity and not just acting. So it's just like, wow, we've been through a lot in the past, 6, 7 years.
Yeah.
So wow, yeah, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. I know, I'm just like, this is just so beautiful. I keep thinking about looking back on these times, and I don't want to, like, rush the moment too much, but I just know how important it is to really, really be grateful for the beginning of things. Like, I feel like I'm at the beginning of a lot of things for my own journey, and especially, like, career-wise, and just, like, figuring out my entryway and my pathway for certain things, but thinking about looking back at it, I'm gonna be like, wow, I took that step, and honestly, you inspire me a lot to take steps like that, because I'm just like, I've always wanted to do more production related work, and I'm just like, acting school was very technical. We did training and we learned how to do the thing of the performer, but now I'm just like, I want to tell stories. Like, I'm a storyteller, and I want to know how you actually get from point A to point B. I want to learn, like, the process of that. And so it's just inspiring to see people around me who get it done. And you're definitely, without a doubt, my number one inspiration for people who get it done. And, like, the work ethic. So
thank you.
So
that really means a lot.
Yeah, I'm no lies here. I'm always talking about Natalie, and not in a type of way where it's just like other people are, but no, I'm just like, it's very inspiring for it to be one of my peers too, that I get to have the privilege of looking up to as well. So yeah. Let's get into our first activity. We have a top 5, and a Riffle MySpace top 8 for the people who are just seeing the podcast for the first time. So you're going to just talk about anything that has influenced your growth. It could be TV show, fictional character, some inanimate object. Somebody said a concept like warmth, and I was like, okay, like we're getting
top
different.
concepts.
Right. I was just like, that's interesting. I like that. But
different.
Yeah, it's different. Whatever you want to talk about, the floor is yours.
Okay. I feel like it's very on brand for me to do my top 5 directors.
Yes! We love it.
I wrote them down. So
Okay, yeah, no problem.
I should really know this by heart. That's kind of embarrassing to have to write it down. Because there's
like,
so many
you
of them.
do know them by heart, but you just have them written down.
Yeah, okay. Let me see if I can...
No, you could still look at it, but I just mean, like, you know them by heart, which is why you could write them down.
No, you're right. Yeah. Okay, so in no particular order, because I can't rank them, because that's really hard. Definitely growing up, Gina Prince-Bythewood, who did Love and Basketball. She recently did The Woman King. I love her. She's amazing. And then Barry Jenkins. Honestly, I love If Beale Street Could Talk more than I love Moonlight, which is kind of controversial to some people. I mean, they're both beautiful films, but I really love If Beale Street Could Talk.
Me too.
Yeah.
That's good.
Thank you. Yeah. It's a beautiful one. Like, it's so tender.
Yeah, the tone too, the just the flow of the film. I really
the
like.
music.
Yeah.
Music.
Everything came together really well. Like, it's like, I remember coming out of the theater, I went to go see it with some of my family members, and I remember thinking, like, that was just like a song. Like, the whole movie just kind of felt packaged in a way where I just kind of I just felt it in my body. I don't know. Like,
yeah, no, it's really good. I also went to the premiere of that, so I saw it at the Apollo Theater with, like, the whole cast, and Barry Jenkins was there, and, like, a lot of other people were there from the film. And so I think that influenced it for me, too, because I just saw it in that amazing space. But, yeah, he's an amazing filmmaker. I love him.
Go Barry.
Yeah, he's awesome. And then Céline Sciamma, who's a French filmmaker. She did Portrait of a Lady on Fire, Water Lilies, Petite Maman, lots of really beautiful French films and queer films.
Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
It's so, I've seen it way too many times.
The last moment of that film.
Did you cry?
Yes.
It's so good. It's so good.
I was like, oh, she was right there, and they worked together. I was
really, really good. It's like heartbreaking.
I was about to say, my heart was on fire.
Yeah.
So it was appropriately named. Like.
Definitely. And then Sofia Coppola, which I just saw Priscilla, and I kind of realized, I was like, that's kind of the aesthetic I want in my films. Her films are really soft, and they kind of take these, like, mundane moments and make them really beautiful. Someone DM'd me and they were like, I didn't like Priscilla. I thought it was too boring, and there wasn't really like the film didn't really have any stakes. And I was like, but I like that.
Yeah,
and,
no, we saw it too, and we saw it with a friend, and we were having some conversation about, like, some of the things that we're coming up with, which was funny because when it ended, our friend was just like, "Did you notice how much feet were in the movie? Like, does the filmmaker has an obsession with feet?" I was like, I didn't notice that until he started, like, listing the instances, and I was just like, oh wait, but I
maybe your friend has the foot fetish. The instances where the feet were in the film. I mean, it's kind of weird.
but one of the first shots in the film was like her feet, and I was just like,
so I was late to the theater.
Oh, okay.
So I missed like the first couple.
Well, you have to see the first minute.
I'm gonna go see it again because I want to watch it again, also to see what you're talking about. Yeah.
He really had to say that for me to remember, but yeah, I had some questions just about her story. I wanted her to, because I know a little bit about just like Priscilla Presley's story and like what she was talking about in her autobiography, and I was wondering like about what they chose to show like in the film, and I was like, I was just wondering like, I wonder why they didn't choose to show this part of her experience or that part. And I know that there was a lot that went into it and a lot that they wanted to probably protect and that type of thing. But I did love the mundane, like just like sitting with the like everyday like experience of it, and it was like a everyday experience type of thing, which I thought was cool. I was just like, dang, they didn't go into they didn't really go into the fact that she cheated back. I mean, she was just like, I mean,
I did see that. Yeah, that was fun a little bit.
They just like hinted at it that she was like gonna do something with that martial arts teacher or whoever that was. And I was like, I wish they would have just like kind of made that more clear. But anyway, I didn't think it was bad by any means. But
yeah, I liked it, and I remember one shot that did have her feet was when she was like in bed, like journaling or something like Elvis, and to me it was such a cute like girly moment, and I think it really did a great job of showing the innocence that she had because she was so young.
She was
just like a little girl, you know, and so I loved like when you're young, you don't like your life isn't that complicated in the grander scheme of things, so it's like it's cool to just see random moments because that's what your life should be like as a little girl. You should not be going to like parties with Elvis and going to his house and having guns, and it was too much.
I was like, great. She was how old? 14?
I know. She was so little.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I love like Sofia Coppola's aesthetic in her films and like the colors, and there's like a warmth and just like a texture to them that I think is really cool. And like I haven't seen that same softness when it comes to like black girls in film, so that's kind of what I want to do. Yeah. Yeah, and then Garrett Bradley is my other one. She's a documentary filmmaker, and I've also made documentaries, so that's someone who I look up to.
What documentaries has she done?
She has one called Time. It's a feature doc. It's on Amazon Prime, I think. And she has some like 2 really great shorts that I've seen that are on Vimeo.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love me a good documentary, so I was like, let me find out.
It's really beautiful. It's about this couple that got separated due to the prison industrial complex, and it tells their love story like over decades, and how she fought for him to get out of prison.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, Time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to watch it.
It's really beautiful.
Okay.
Bring some tissues.
Okay.
It's really good.
Thank you for the heads up.
Yeah.
Because I'm definitely prone to tears.
Yeah.
Right, I'm a Cancer. Okay, I've really, really loved your top 5, and now I'm just like, ooh, I like the fact that you just had the list of directors, and I'm sitting here like, I've been kind of listening to people talk about films and TV shows, actually mostly films lately, and I've been like keeping a little list, like I'll text it to myself of stuff that I want to watch, like that people have mentioned, and I'm like, ooh, let me put that on my list, and I'm just gonna sit down and like do it. Like I want to sit down and like take directors, writers, actors, and just watch their whole filmography or their whole like TV.
Me too.
Yeah.
I need to do that more.
Yeah.
And also, I'm proud of myself because only one was a man.
Oh, that's true. Very, yes.
I really want to get better at watching like older directors, like ones who have passed. And I do, but none of them are my favorites. At least not so far. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah.
see. Those who are beyond the grave, we'll see. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's get into these questions. Identity and self-discovery is something I'm really excited to talk about because, you know, that... Blooper reel. No. But yes, identity and self-discovery, I'm excited to talk about it because it just has a lot of influence on choice and influence on that is choice, but, you know, influence on the path that we go in terms of, like, creativity and just all that good stuff, like relationships with other people. And I noticed that me discovering who I am has really affected who I see around me and who I want to be around me. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, yeah, that's very big. But anyway, speaking of the creativity aspect of it, I wanted to know that as an artist, how has your own sense of identity evolved from the moment you decided to be a filmmaker? And in what ways has this evolution influenced the themes and the messages in your work?
Yeah. So when I first started filmmaking, I used to make documentaries. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you knew this.
Yeah, I think you. Yeah, I knew this.
Yeah. I made documentaries when I was in high school, and I made them because I went to a really white school that was very conservative in Virginia, and things were happening in the Black community, and nobody cared. Mm-hmm. So I made documentaries so I could try to, like, wake them up and get the people, like the white people, to know what was going on, to, like, do something and not, basically just, like, not be racist. Mm-hmm. So that was the whole reason why I got into filmmaking at first, was to talk about diversity and, like, Black Lives Matter and educate people. Mm-hmm. And that was cool for that time, but then as I got older, I started to realize, like, I don't really care so much to educate white people or to try and wake them up to things mm-hmm. they should already know about. I want to tell stories that are for my community, mm-hmm. and also stories that, like, bring joy. So that was very different, kind of the opposite of what I was doing at first. Mm-hmm. So I think my filmmaking definitely changed when I realized, like, I don't have to educate white people, and I'm a lot happier doing what I'm doing now.
That's great.
And if they learn something along the way, great, but my films are not going to be, like, for them or with that purpose in mind. So yeah, now I'm mostly doing, like, coming of age stories and stories that the younger version of myself would have needed to see or wanted to see, not things that I think white people need to see to, like, learn.
Right. That's interesting too, because that's a conversation that people have a lot. Like, we were even having a similar conversation earlier with the reception of Jaja's African hair braiding on Broadway. Like, some people.
I love that show.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, some people might have, like, in terms of shows in general, because I'm also thinking of that show Passover that was on Broadway. Like, for people who are familiar with it, it was, like, kind of like the Black version of, what is it called? Waiting for Godot. Yeah, it's like a play. But I had some beef with that show. And some people had...
The Black version of something that's white,
yeah,
it's always going to be, to me, a little problematic.
Yeah, a little, and also just, like, when the fact that I was reading the play before going to see it on stage, and, like, I was just thinking, like, something so different with the words that were on the page than what was presented on the stage, and I was like, that has a lot to do with directing, too, sometimes. Like, it's not always, like, the actual text that's gonna, because when I was reading it, I was like, this sounds like kind of like a language between two Black people, like, you know, how people in their community have, like, their own way they speak to each other that they understand. And when I saw the play, I was like, they're kind of coming off as dumb, or like they want, or like it's directed as if we're supposed to be like, oh, this person is less than in a certain way. And I was just like, that is not how I was reading it. And I was just kind of thrown off. But yeah, there's a lot of conversation about, like, was this made for white people, or people, like, thinking that, oh, this was made so that white people can know what's going on.
Yeah.
which is not necessarily a bad thing, but that's not always what people want to be doing. Like,
yeah,
and,
and that shouldn't be like your purpose in life.
Yeah,
I don't think.
That's kind of tough to be like, oh, they have to know, but because that's also not your responsibility. Like, it's their responsibility. I mean, to educate themselves. So it's not like, it's not like you're doing anything bad by deciding not to be like, I need to show this because they don't know what's going on. Mm-hmm. But so that's cool how you shifted and I love your focus on coming of age stories. Yeah, it's very like touching for the inner child to be like, oh, this is something that I really and it feels very validating. It's just like, this is something that I've felt and other people feel it too, and look at where we are. Like, we can find community in this thing, and we can talk about it more, and like, especially with our parents too. I think that's important, because I'm always like, listen, y'all gotta watch this. Sometimes it would either be like literature or like film or TV with my family. I'm like, this is something y'all need to read, or this is something y'all need to watch, because and then we can have a conversation, because maybe you might be able to see what was going on with me, like discovering myself behind closed doors in a way that I can't really find the words right now to explain to you.
Yeah.
So
that's so true.
Yeah, I think that's really beautiful to be your guideline and your guidepost as you make films now. Like, yeah.
It can always change. Like, we're always evolving and discovering ourselves and growing and stuff like that. But
exactly.
For a while now, I've really loved coming of age stories, even just to watch. Mm-hmm. Like, one show I really loved was Love, Victor.
Oh, I loved Love, Victor.
Good.
I don't know what they was doing with that last season, but
the last season was a little rough.
But I was surprised about how good it was. Yeah. I was just like, I remember one time I was watching it, I pressed pause. I said, wait a minute, why am I crying?
Yeah.
I was really crying.
Good. Yeah. It's really, it really pulls at your heartstrings. It's so beautiful. And I think, like, no matter how old you are, you can really find something good in those shows.
Yeah, I'm thinking about a rewatch for that one, because it was good.
Really good, I know.
I don't know why. I didn't think it was going to be bad, but I don't know why my mind was blown by what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Like,
I was surprised a little too that it was that good.
The storylines were I just really, really appreciated a lot of the stuff that they touched on. I was like, wow, this is. Yeah, and then sometimes when you're like questioning, especially that thing about questioning who you are, a lot of the times, I think they handled that really well. Yeah,
that was awesome.
I was like, okay, good. That wasn't like, sometimes I would be like this.
Yeah.
Especially like, not with Love, Victor specifically, but watching different shows sometimes, I'm just like, ooh, are they gonna, that's kind of could be risky, like the way you talk about certain things. And yeah, I just thought they handled that beautifully, like questioning yourself, and especially because it's like you have or like if you're in a relationship with someone and you're still trying to figure out your identity, and it's hard, like, relatable. I'm just like, it's really good. Yeah, Love, Victor. Go watch it if you haven't watched it. Love, Victor, shout out. But my next question is, how do you handle external expectations while constantly on a moving path of self-discovery? Because everybody got something to say all the time. I'm like, y'all be quiet, please shut up.
Yeah, everyone does have something to say. I don't know. I mean, I think, like, commentary is one thing, but then expectations are another. And I think, for a while it was really hard for me to handle expectations. And I mean, for one, I have a lot for myself, very high expectations for myself, but I've learned to be less hard on myself about those. But I think for a while, honestly, expectations would, like, hinder me from being who I wanted to be and being happy, because I would listen to them, or I would get really caught up in what other people maybe wanted for me or saw for me. Like even going to film school and doing a career that's like, you know, like you could be a starving artist, as opposed to you doing what the other kids in high school were doing, which was like trying to be pre-law or pre-med or political science or international relations, like whatever, like traditional paths. And here I was being like, I want to be in film school.
What did your family think about that? Were they pretty supportive or?
Yeah, I mean, well, my family knew that I wanted to do film since I was like in high school making these documentaries. So, and they put me in a couple of like film summer camps to learn more. Yeah, I mean, they also did put me in law summer camp. I'm so serious. Like I did like law camp for teenagers.
Wow.
And yeah, and like I did one like international affairs camp too. Because being an only child, my mom like I needed to go somewhere for the summer, so I would go to camps, and she found some like educational camps that I did.
Wow. Yeah. That sounds like a movie in itself.
I know, it could be law camp.
Law camp.
Yeah. So, you know, like I got to like explore everything. So that was the thing of like, okay, you should try out the different paths and then kind of decide. So I did. I tried different ones, but I think when they realized that like I really wanted to do this and I kept on making films, I think I probably made like 20 or 30 films when I was in like high school. I mean, were they good? Not really, but like I made them and I finished them and
No, that's what's important, yeah.
Yeah, so they knew that I wanted to do it and they were supportive and they're like, okay, as long as you know that you have to work really hard and, you know, you really have to like go for what you want and see it through and like get the best education you can get, whatever. So yeah, they're pretty supportive, but sometimes I would feel just myself a little bit insecure next to the students who were doing the like traditional path. And people would ask me like, oh, what are you going to school for? And I would see their reactions when I said, oh, I want to go to art school, I want to do film, versus when some people would say, oh, I want to be the next Supreme Court justice, or, you know, you could just kind of see in people's faces that, like, they didn't expect that for you, or expected, like, something more, quote unquote. So, yeah, I think it took me a while to, like, be confident in what I really wanted because of that, but I'm glad that I got there. It just took time.
Yeah, I'm glad that you got there, too, because it's rough out here for artists and artistry. Like,
it is.
People are just like, even lately I've gotten some, and to me, I'm just like, if you consume art,
I know,
just
we all
shut
do.
the fuck up. I'm sorry, like, but no, for real, like, be quiet.
I know, we all, like, owe so much to everyone who's creative, especially thinking about, like 2020, and how all you were doing was watching TV, listening to music, watching movies. Like, we wouldn't have gotten through without art. Then you want to look down on people who want to create. It's just like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I'm missing something here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that reminds me of, like, my roommates junior year of NYU who were like, what do you do all day? It's like summer camp. I'm like, you wish.
Oh my God, like, so weird.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like, we got into, I was like, I'm never living with dudes again. They were studying law and like,
oh really?
Like engineering and stuff like that.
Yeah, engineering was a big one. Yeah. Everyone was like, oh, you should go into STEM. I was like, I don't like.
I'm going into STEAM, bitch.
It is STEAM.
Yeah,
it's the A in STEAM. You're right.
Right. I'm just like, because I'm just like, the art's really, it's just so big for the economy, so big for the world, and just our daily lives. I don't know why we're not rejoicing when people say they want to do it.
Rejoicing.
Yeah.
I know. It should be. Yeah.
That's my opinion sometimes. Like, and when I went to London, I was just like, maybe I should be here sometimes, because they just have such a different perspective.
Yeah, it's America.
Yeah, I'm like,
very capitalist.
It's not cute here. Like, Oh my goodness. I'm thinking about the strike and like how I was that's probably why I got burnt out of trying to educate people about the strike. I feel like that's similar to being like, okay, maybe this is not my job. But people could do that. That's very valid and that's very needed. But some people who, are not in arts related careers are like, oh, these writers who are fighting for their rights and blah 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 to get paid. They should just go learn how to code. I was like,
oh no.
Yeah. And then you won't have anything to watch. You silly bitch. Like, I'm like, be for real. I don't know.
And to me, I don't know. It's kind of disrespectful to people who are coders. Right? Because that's
it is. Yeah, it is.
That's hard. And then to just tell people, like, oh, just go code, like, it's easy. That's kind of rude that's kind of rude.
Right. I said, that's rude all around to every party.
Exactly.
I was just like, we have a long way to go. I don't know how we're going to get there with so many people, like, brainwashed by our society and the capitalism that runs it, but, we still have to stay up and do what we do and show people that we're not going anywhere.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
So yeah, yay us, yay art.
Yay art.
Which brings me to my last question. I don't know if it was me and you who talked about this recently, but I want to talk about when you work a lot and you start to feel the burnout of it all. Mm-hmm. And I want to know if you can discuss how you tackle burnout and taking a step back to prioritize self-care, and what has this taught you about how you like to approach your own personal work-life balance?
I love that question. This is kind of going to be like an embarrassing answer.
I love it.
But I just have this vision in my head back to a couple years ago when I was really burnt out. And I was just on the Amtrak train, just like crying, like so frustrated, so overwhelmed. And honestly, what I do when I'm burnt out is I just go home. like I go back to Maryland, I take the train, usually the train, not the bus. I hit the bus. Ugh. And I just go to Maryland and like go home to my mom and don't have to worry about money, like buying groceries or food or going anywhere because we live in the suburbs, so I don't have to like leave. And I can't drive, so people just drive me. That's
an act of rebellion, no?
Just a little bit. And I just kind of like don't do anything. Or only do really small things. And I just talk to my family, and they usually give me some advice. And I can, like, unwind and recharge. And then I come back to New York. Like, that's, like, really what's happened a lot of the times. I just have to, like, get away and leave and, like, forget what's going on.
Yeah, that's important. That used to be... Sorry about that. We had a little technical snafu. We'll be back right after this.
But yeah, that's typically what I do is I just go home and leave the city and relax and chill out and also express the emotions. I go to therapy, cry, make a playlist, all the things.
Make a playlist.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I don't have, some complex or really spiritual answer of things I do. That's just what I do, and
no, that's great. So. That's great.
Yeah.
And I really can relate to at least a past version of myself. When I moved back home, things changed a little bit, but when I was still living here, like before I moved back home, that was me. I would go back home, and I was just like, then after, when it started to get like close to 2 weeks, I'm like, okay, I could have sublet my apartment or something if I was going to be gone for this long.
I can't really do more than 10 days.
Yeah, 10 days is exactly what it is for me.
I can't really do more than 10 days. Then I have to get, like, then I have to escape from being home, and then it's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
That's like too much.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know how I've been surviving, but yeah, that's That's beautiful. I love it. I love it. Okay. You have some questions for me. I'm laughing because I'm like, I need to get out of that house.
I mean, you are now. That's why you're here.
Exactly. That's
so
exactly why I'm here.
Yeah.
That's exactly why I'm here.
That's why you're here.
What do you mean you've been listening this whole time and you haven't subscribed yet? I don't see what the holdup is. The button is right there. And while you're at it, follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You obviously like the show.
Yeah, so I had a question for you. In terms of your self-discovery, what obstacles have you encountered on the road to, like, being more confident about who you are and discovering, like, your true self?
I think there are a lot of, like, obstacles that I deal with that I don't show people, and then there are obstacles that I'm very vocal about sometimes, that I'm like, oh, this is something that we can, like, figure out together, or we should be doing this as a community type thing. I think I want to kind of talk about, like, the obstacles that I go through alone. I think sometimes my sense of self, like, my self-esteem can get really low, and I have to just, like, kind of examine that. And I just, because I get in, like, a really, really large state of confusion about, like, why are people talking about me so highly? Like, I just get so confused about it, like, sometimes. Yeah, really, really big imposter syndrome. Like, it'll be like, I'm so down in those moments. And it's just like, then I start to convince myself that people must be lying, because I feel, I'm just such in a place where I feel so low that I'm just like, they can't see this. Like, they don't know how, like, bad it hurts or how hard it is. So, like, I don't know. And I get confused. I'm like, well, what are they seeing then? Like, what am I giving off? But I think even just, like, walking, as I was, like, on my way here, like, walking down the street, like, thinking about how, like, kind of some things I'm going through right now, and, like, trying to get myself, like, trying to build myself up and trying to, like, root for myself some more. I was just thinking about it, like, okay, like, people are going to receive you anyway, like, different than how you see yourself. Like, you're going to be your hardest judge.
Yeah.
And I think that obstacle that I kind of hit a lot, like, over and over again consistently, would be that kind of, like, tussle with that judge that's inside of me. And I just feel like I don't talk about it enough, like, how frequent that is, and how I'm just feeling like I'm trying to dig myself out sometimes. Yeah, the imposter syndrome can get really, really strong. And
definitely, that's a hard one.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I go through some days, though, where I'm just, like, so proud of myself, or the other day I was just like, you know what, I'm brilliant, I'm talented, I'm this, I'm that. And then other days I'll be like, damn, why didn't I grow up like this, or why did I do that? Like, I have no idea how to do any of this stuff. And sometimes that kind of gets me down. And then I remember what kind of helps me out of it sometimes is I remember, like, people around me who have been in, like, similar places growing up, like, similar, like, circumstances, and how they, like, moved, and what I was impressed by watching them. And also the fact that they didn't necessarily blame those circumstances for what they, like, for where they were, what they were going through. Like, this, they didn't say it's because I didn't have this, that I did like this. Because my mom gave me a perm when I was, that's why I can't. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke that a lot of people say. That's a joke that a lot of people are like, if my mama didn't perm my hair, I would be able to sing like Beyonce. I'm just like, the two people just saying something that has nothing to do with it. Like, if my mama didn't perm my hair, I would have had the boyfriend of my dreams by now. It'd just be like something random like that. But yeah, my point is, like, my mama didn't perm my hair, but someone snuck it in one time. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, someone snuck.
I did. Dominican salon.
No, not at the Dominican salon. It was actually at a black salon, but the Dominican salon I used to go to when I was dancing more because my hair had to be straight all the time.
Same.
And it broke off some of my hair in the back.
Yeah, they like used thinning shears and cut the middle of my hair out because my hair was like so thick. And and we didn't know until I was like, why is my hair really thin right here? And then I found out, and it was. That was awful. It was really terrible. Like my mom was really mad. Like she was crying.
I would have been lethal. I would have been so upset.
I know. We could have like filed a lawsuit or something.
Yeah. If my mom knew about it, I was wondering. I was like, you didn't sue them?
Yeah. We didn't know until we went to different stylists, and she was like,
"What's this?
Your hair is really thin here.
Yeah.
It looks like thinning shears."
Yeah.
Sorry, that was like very off topic.
No, I love tangents. You're gonna watch the podcast back and see how. First of all, you're gonna see some funny stuff, but you're gonna see the hilarious tangents that often happen. But
it's normal.
But yeah, it's normal. That's what we do. That's how we expand and start talking about things that are just like ridiculous and fun. But yeah, I think the obstacle is basically imposter syndrome and that confidence, like trying to find that confidence. And also one more thing that I just came into my mind just a second is that sometimes I don't know what this is called. You might say something about it in a second, but that feeling when you're just like, what's the point of all this? Like, why? Like, what's the point of being here on this planet and like having a purpose? And like, why do I need a purpose? Why can't I just be here and be a human, like, and just walk around and do stuff? Sometimes like that
feeling?
Yeah, that type of feeling seeps into me sometimes. And only because kind of because of burnout. Like when I've been working a lot or doing a lot of stuff, it'll come and I'm just like, why do I even have to have a passion? Like, why do I even have to strive for anything? Like, it kind of gets to that.
You know what's funny? Today on the train coming here, this couple was talking, and the woman was talking about how she wishes she had a passion.
Oh.
And she didn't have a passion or anything that she cared about. And she was like, I'm jealous of you, to her boyfriend. She was like, I'm jealous of how you just like know what you want to do and you're so passionate about it. And then I was like, I realized like not everyone, it's true, not everyone has something that they really care about. Or they just kind of do what they have to do to like make ends meet or, you know, live their life. But they just kind of like are just vibing,
right?
I guess, or they're just doing it like doing their day to day, seeing their friends, seeing their family, going home. It's chill.
Yeah.
I think that's the hard part about the life of like being a creative is you get so wrapped up in what you're doing and it becomes your whole entire life, and you are so passionate, and a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah. That makes a ton of sense.
So it's a gift.
Yeah.
I think it's a gift to care so much about something. Not everyone has that. So.
Soundbite. No. That was beautiful. I think so too. I'm just like, we're divergent. No. That's what Katrina says, and I love what
divergent?
She says. Yes.
Okay.
I'm just like, I think so, because even though I feel that way sometimes, like, why do I have to do this? Or it's not that I have to. It's that the instinct is so strong. The pull is so strong that it's just like I feel like a sense of being like something's washing over me, and I feel completely consumed. Especially when I'm performing or when I'm writing something, I just like get like connected, so connected that I'm just like, this is me. Like this is what I'm supposed to do. If that's how we're gonna say it, that's how I'm gonna say it. But
it's your path.
Right, it's my path.
It's your purpose. Yeah.
It's my gift.
It's your gift. Yeah.
I hope that answered the question. Like we went everywhere, which I love. But
yeah, we did go. We're talking about the salon and
all around the world.
But it did. Yeah, we got there.
Oh, I was about to say, do you have other questions?
Yeah. And I was gonna say similarly. What role has vulnerability played in your journey for self-discovery?
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking about this podcast.
Very vulnerable through this. Yeah, I was gonna say, I feel like, you've been very vulnerable through this podcast and like sharing your journey about self-discovery and different themes. So I feel like it might answer itself, but I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yeah, I think also something I've been thinking about is how my relationship with my parents has shifted the past couple years, and I think I'm trying to just like show a little bit more of myself in general, and I think or in general to everybody, like, because sometimes I'm like I don't know if people, and I think social media has to do with it a lot, because I'm sitting here sometimes looking at my own personal social media, like, if someone were to look at this, would they be able to even, like, kind of get a glimpse of who I am for real? I know social media is kind of like people are showing very specific facets of their life, but I think it's something about that kind of made me take a step back, and I'm just like, even with the people who are in my direct circle, who are not just consuming me off the internet, I'm like, I think I can be a little bit more, like, I can share more, I can discuss more, I could say what's actually eating at me more at times, and I think sometimes the root of that in my head goes back to growing up in the household I grew up in, and the relationship I had with my parents, and then where it was a couple years ago. And I decided when I went to therapy, like, actually one of the number one reasons I listed when I was telling her why I decided to seek therapy at that moment in time was because I really wanted to change the relationship with my parents. Like, I didn't want it to just be like that. I didn't want it to be like vague and things like that, and not that anybody did something specific and it was somebody's fault. Like, sometimes you just need a break to figure out who you are, and that's what I was going through. And at a certain point, I was struggling so much, and I just wanted answers, and I was like, I think being more forthcoming about who I am with my parents, it just felt like the root of it. And I think that's kind of where it started too, like being more vulnerable with my parents about like things that I'm thinking about, things that I'm struggling with, things that I have questions about. It's just kind of like what kind of just propelled me to keep doing that with friends, with like the rest of my community, in my art, and yeah. I'm sitting here like, did I answer the question? This always happens to me, but yeah, it's just like it was a thought of mine. I was like, I think that's the missing piece. It was almost like a guess when it came up for me. I was just like, it just fit, because it felt like I wasn't. It felt like I was just scratching at the surface of a lot of things, and so I was just like, I think I need to go to whatever the source is, if I could identify that, and try to rectify whatever that is there. And so my relationship with my parents started to shift as I started to intentionally like work on it, and then decide to move back home and like see what that could do. And I don't know, there was a recent time where I was with my mom, and I just felt like, I feel like we've grown so much. I feel like I wouldn't have thought, because I know you probably know some of the things, or remember some of the things I was going through. So I was like, I feel like we've put some things aside and also grown in certain ways where now it's not like that as much. Now I actually have a different feeling coming off of a conversation or coming off of a phone call, and a lot of it too is understanding myself and understanding a little bit more about the people that I'm talking to, because the mutual understanding thing really helps, especially because I'm like, we're close. These people are the people that I talk to, the people that I commune with are going to be people that I really care about and who I'm really close to. So I'm just like, I guess the thing was like, I just wanted to know where I got some of this from. Like, I just wanted to know, like, why am I like this? No, but but yeah, getting to know my parents and my family better really like helps with that vulnerability and just like encouraged me to express more and like investigate that more in daily life and in my art.
Yeah. Awesome.
I rambled, but that's the nature of the game.
No, you got to the center of it, which is, I think, like, it's nice that you realized you kind of had to be vulnerable with your parents, like the people who you've known the longest in your life, and that helped you do that with everyone else, which is really beautiful, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like started from the bottom and now we're here.
Now we're here. Exactly. That's my other question I had for you. Yeah, so I wanted to talk about how we both, like for both of us, one of our earliest art forms was dancing. And I wanted you to talk about how you came to discover that you liked art and what different paths did you take to like lead you to where you are now?
Yeah, I think it was probably because I came from such an artistic family. Like my dad being a musician, and my mom studied drama and started teaching acting as well. And
I forgot your dad was a musician.
Yeah, he plays the euphonium. Look it up if you don't know.
Wait, I don't think I know what that is.
It's a wind instrument. It's like I guess he would say like a small trombone or like kind of like that, but
that's so cool.
They could fact check me on that, something like that.
It's a wind instrument.
Yeah, but he plays a couple of different things at various skill levels, and he teaches band. So I grew up with 2 teachers in the arts, and I just also grew up around that type of language that was, you know, for the arts and not like no judgment about it. And
that's really nice.
Yeah, so that was good. And of course I was homeschooled for a long time, so it was just like most of my intake was that conversation that was very like, yes, the arts. And I started taking dance classes when I was like 7 or so, and I have older brothers who were dancing as well before me, even though my oldest brother, he was pretending like he didn't like it, but he could dance. He could dance. And then when he was in high school, he was...
I met.
Yes, this is when you met in November or a couple weeks ago. But he was a drum major when he was in high school, and I remember they like do their little dance like on the field.
Yeah.
And I was just like, so you don't dance? but I don't know. I just have always known the arts, or always known the arts to be a good thing and to be like something to really, really put your full self into. And I really like dance. I really like dance, especially as a kid.
It's like 10 years.
Probably like 11, 12 years. I really liked dance, and I want to get back to it, but that's another story.
Me too.
Yeah, dancing, let loose, release. It was really good release. But when I was a kid, the stakes felt so low, and it felt like I was just having fun with friends a lot of the time. I remember, especially in African dance class, where I really had the close friendships with my peers. We just like dancing together just formed a bond that I couldn't explain. Like it was just so fun and we weren't like competing for anything. Like I wasn't doing any of the competition dance, anything.
I was in competition.
You were in competition? Okay, yeah, no, I didn't do the competitive dance. I went to some competitions. I think my brother might have done a few. Yeah, okay. I think my brother might have done a few, but I never competed. And sometimes I auditioned for shows that the same auditions my friends were doing, but we didn't really feel like, you know.
That was a whole other world.
Yeah, you can talk about that in a second because now I want to know. But yeah, then when I got to high school, it's kind of what convinced me to take a step back from dance specifically, which is like such a shame. But high school kind of made the stakes feel so high. It's like, this is like the fight of your life, and you're a professional, and which is good for people who really want that. I love to dance, and I was really doing it for fun. Like, I was really doing it to really get that great release and to just bond with my peers. All that type of good stuff. And also it was like one of the first art forms I really like dived into and tapped into, and I felt like I knew the language so well. It's kind of fun when you're walking around talking to people about dance and what ballet is and West African dance and modern. And I did hip hop a little bit here and there and tap sometimes, and
tap was my thing.
Tap was fun.
That was my thing.
Okay, I love that. Tap, I want to tap again so bad. Like,
me too.
When I was helping out with some Pal Joey auditions, and Savion Glover is a choreographer, so of course tap.
Oh.
He was a force to be reckoned with. Yeah.
That's so cool.
I got to sit in there and watch him teach and like interact with him too. And I was just sitting over there like pulling my hair out because I was like, Savion Glover's right here and I don't have tap shoes to be up there with him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it was so cool to watch. He's like absolutely insane. And I love him. He's so cool. But yeah, now I want to hear about your experience with tap. Tap was like one of my favorites.
Tap was my favorite too. I had like really great footwork, but I wasn't a performer. So it was hard for me during the competitive aspect of dance because I was like so uncomfortable being on the stage and having to do like facial expressions and like have attitude and personality, and I was like so shy and like stiff. But I had really great footwork, so so I really enjoyed it. It was just like I'm not a performer, you know, so I realized, that's when I kind of realized I was like, okay, I like art and expression, but I don't really like the performance aspect. Yeah. So it makes sense now that I like to write and do filmmaking and stuff. But I think, honestly, even before I was doing dance, I used to write poetry. Oh. Yeah.
That's something I forgot to even mention that or think about that. Like, that's something, I used to write poetry in like a little composition book. Okay. And it would mostly be spiritual at the time because everything was religious when I was a kid.
Yeah, and I mean, even the poem in Pure, my short film that Jessica's in.
Yeah, go Pure, stream Pure.
Watch it on Max. Yeah, even in Pure, the poem in that film I wrote when I was in high school. Wow. So I used to write poetry, and that was a really
I love that poem.
Thank you. I kind of tweaked it a little bit for the film to be shorter and make more sense for the character and stuff. But yeah, that was when I wrote in high school. So yeah, poetry and dance were my two things. And again, like even though I wrote poetry, only once or twice did I stand up on the stage and like perform my poems. And even then I was very uncomfortable.
Oh my God. Did you have poetry out loud at your school?
No, but I went to watch people do it. Okay. Did you go to that?
I tried to. Did
you audition?
Auditioned for it, yes.
Okay.
I came in I don't remember, second or third place or something like that. My little brother just recently did it in...
What year did you do poetry out loud? Was it in D.C.?
I did it in D.C. I did it in... What year was that? Did you ever had to be my sophomore year of high school.
Did you ever do open mics? Like at Busboys and Poets?
No, I never did that.
No? Okay.
I did go to Busboys and Poets and witness them, but I never got on stage. Yeah. Oh man, I forgot about that.
Maybe we met there.
I think we met somewhere. We were I could have sworn
I know you. Maybe we saw each other at a poetry thing.
That could be. Because you know what? Even before, I had followed you on Instagram and all that stuff and saw all our mutual friends. No. When we met and then I followed you on Instagram and saw that we had all those mutual friends. Even before I followed you, I was like, you look so familiar.
I know, me too. But maybe that's why. Maybe it was something poetry.
We were literally walking around for 3 days, where did we know each other from?
That makes sense, though.
That could be.
That was my whole, because I stopped dancing when I was in, 9th grade, because I went to boarding school. I mean, I danced a little bit, but not, as intensely, and so I love to go to DC and, go to poetry slams and hear the people do their open mics and stuff.
Those were really fun. I want to start going to stuff like that again.
Yeah.
inspiring.
I used to go for a little while in New York, but I haven't been as often recently.
Yeah, that would be
yeah.
fun. I have to put that down on my list of activities. I'm like building up like a list of activities and also bougie activities to do when I'm making more money. Yes, the bougie activities. That list is growing. Like I'm sitting here like I'm ready to take the salsa classes.
There's lots of bougie activities you can do. Yeah.
Yeah, but the poetry one, I could start going to that. I mean, and we're going to be going to the comedy shows because I'm like I'm just trying to hop up on an open mic to do my stand-ups, and talk about how the listeners can know, first of all, I'm working on like a stand-up about how my mom said, "Oh, don't talk about me." I said, "Okay, she's the first thing I'm going to talk about." Then
what did your mom do?
I was like, the thing is, or the way I'm going to describe it or open it up is how my mom used to make me dance in front of dead bodies. Because
wait, what? What do you mean dance? Like at funerals?
Yes. And I didn't want to at all. Like that was like the pain.
The way that you said it was so weird. Okay.
Exactly, that's the point.
At funerals.
Yes,
like,
but
do a liturgical dance.
Yes, on the ground in front of the open casket, and I just kind of wanted to talk about how unsettling that was for me, and I did not ever want to do that. But anyway, that's just a little peeksies, but it was my grandma who saved my life. God rest her soul.
Who saved your life?
Yes, but I'll tell you more about it later because our listeners need to be surprised.
Okay.
But yeah.
Any questions about this?
Yeah. But anyway, yes, poetry, open mics.
Yes.
You'll see me there.
We were saying something before though. We were saying like
about knowing each other from.
No, we were saying that tap dancing.
Oh, I do this a lot. Tap, and then we started talking about poetry.
Oh. So after you did dance, you did acting. Modeling. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So when I was in high school, at the end of starting to be the end of high school, I actually didn't know what I wanted to do when I went to college. Like, I had I was really good at science back then. Like, I was really good at chemistry, yeah.
You could have been a STEM.
Yeah, I could have been a STEM. Person. And, I know they needed more women in STEM, but I was just so confused. Like, I was so intimidated because I knew, like, the school system I was in wasn't like I was like, people are probably doing harder work. I might think I'm really good at this, but people might be doing harder work in another school system and be better prepared for this type of thing. Even not that I couldn't like do it and be great at it, but I was just a little bit confused if that's actually what I wanted. Like if I wanted to study chemistry or study like some type of like engineering type of thing, and because I never thought about it that much. I'm just like I'm in dance half the day at school, and I do my homework and barely have time to sleep.
Yeah.
So at the end of school, at the end of high school, all I knew was I want to know how to do other art forms. Like I want to be like multifaceted in terms of like a performer. Mm-hmm. And I talked about this in another episode, but I had always admired like Raven Simone's like performance.
It's Raven Simone.
Or Raven Simone.
Apparently. Did you see that video?
Yes, I'm sitting here like.
Are you joking? I don't know.
I listened to a couple episodes of her podcast, and I could just literally because I wanted to figure it out. But yeah,
Raven Simone.
I don't know if it's Raven Simone or not. I'll say Raven Simone, girl. Okay, I'll do what you want. I respect your name. But yeah, her stage presence and her just like presence on screen really inspired me when I was a kid. And I kept thinking about stuff like that. I kept thinking about watching when I would go to see movies and come out of the theater thinking I could have been in that, like feeling like that type of confidence. I was just like, that role right there could have been me. And I do that now sometimes, and a lot of things like make me like, not to say that somebody's work wasn't good, because a lot of times I liked the performance too. Sometimes not the case, but a lot of times I do like the performance, but I'm also just like, I could have bodied this role or something like that. And I noticed that earlier in like high school that I was doing that. And I was like, maybe I should get trained just in case it comes up. Like, and then I started to love it.
Just in case.
Just in case it comes up that I get an opportunity. Like, but I wasn't sure. So I just did what I just went and did what I was accepted into NYU to do, which I didn't even remember applying for global liberal studies. But I was like, if they want to send me to London, I'm going to go to London. I mean, come on, that's so cool. Yeah. I was just like, did I check that box when I was doing the application? Like, must have.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, they don't accept many freshmen to go to London. I was like, your first year? Like, my mom was confused too. She was like, as a 18-year-old kid?
Yeah.
Your first year?
That's so fun though.
Yeah, I thought it was like going to be an adventure, which it was. But I was just like, I gotta do it. Like, there was I never had any doubts until I was sitting in my college prep class that seniors have to take at my high school. And one of my friends was just like, you're really gonna go to London? That's intense. I said, it is. I was just like, literally, I remember that moment so clearly. That was the first time like I ever thought anything
but you did it.
But excitement about it. Yeah. But then I was like, it wasn't that hard to get me back into that mode of excitement after that. But I did remember that.
If like they didn't speak English.
Yeah, exactly. That was something I thought about too.
Like, London's the easiest place.
Exactly. That was one of the biggest things too.
Yeah.
I was excited that there was not going to be a language barrier.
Exactly.
Yeah, I was just like, even though sometimes it felt like it was some of the things that they referred to other things as. I'm just like, what the heck are you talking about?
Like, what's a cue?
Right, what's a cue?
Yeah.
I went in there, went into a drugstore bleeding one time, and I was just like, do y'all have a Band-Aid? And they were looking at me like I was crazy. I was like, oh, come on. What do you call Band-Aids here? Like, I was just fed up.
What do they call Band-Aids?
Plasters.
Plasters?
Yes. They were like,
alright.
Plasta. I was like, oh. And I was just fed up because it was just like the 10th word that day that I didn't.
No.
I was just like the 10th word that day that they...
It's literally the brand is Band-Aid.
Yeah.
So I don't understand why you would call it a plaster, or like why would you not know?
I didn't see the Band-Aid brand when I was so
Oh, they didn't have the Band-Aid? Really?
Maybe they do now. I mean, that was like some years ago, but...
I mean, it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, it wasn't that long ago, but why not have Band-Aids?
Yeah,
like, why not just call it Band-Aids? Or maybe to them, Band-Aid is the brand, plaster is the thing. Like, like it's...
I don't know, that's just a little weird.
Plaster is the equipment. Band-Aid is the person who's is the name of the... Because you can have plasters from other brands, not just Band-Aid. Look at this tangent.
Other brands? I've never seen, like...
I never paid attention. Johnson & Johnson? I don't know. That's Johnson & Johnson plasters. But yeah, that was a big thing, me thinking about, there's not going to be a language barrier. This is going to be so fun. I'm not going to have to learn Spanish, even though I should have. Like, I'm just like, and I want to. But yeah, even when I went to London, actually, I was dancing. Like, they had extracurriculars.
Oh.
Yeah, they had extracurriculars at University College London, and I joined the dance team, the ballet dance team.
That's so cool.
I was like the tall black girl.
Full circle.
Yes, I was like the tallest person, so I stood at the end of the queue. The tallest one. Tall black girl, like the little whites and the little Asians right in front of me. In the line. With our little tendu toe pointed out to the front, and I'm just like...
Not the little...
I look so out of place is the point, but it was fun. It was fun to still be connected to dance. I didn't feel like I was done with dance. It just like, it was kind of organic how slowly I just stopped dancing as much, because in acting school we danced and we had to take movement classes and stuff like that. So I got a chance to kind of like, slowly take a step back and not like cut it off cold turkey, I guess, with dance. And now that I haven't really been dancing like that in a while, it's like I know that that's something that brought me great joy and great release, and I think it will be really helpful. Whoops! sorry about that. We had a little technical snafu. We'll be back right after this. Okay, so yes, the art forms that I started out with and how I was interested in art. And I like how this conversation just made me realize that I return to a lot of them. And like at poetry, for example, which is a big part of this podcast, and writing, and now that I want to go back to dance, it's like all coming like full circle. So that's very special. Yeah. And dance really had a big contribution in teaching me about myself, and this is, I hope this doesn't go into a big tangent because I just want to wrap it up real quick, but I just realized again, just realizing something in the moment, but something that I really had to deal with growing up was my connection to my body, and like kind of like being comfortable with being taller than a lot of people. So in dance, like usually people liked the fact that you were tall, like it was a good thing, and I felt really confident and really like sassy that I was the tall one, and like I was kind of like there was tall privilege in dance a lot of the time.
It's true.
Yeah, so
and modeling.
Yeah, and modeling too. Yeah. That's definitely a big one in modeling. In dance, it was just like I would do things to try to stand out so that people could at least point to that if something technical was off. I'm like, well, I'm tall, so...
Yeah, I got long legs.
Right, I got long legs, and long legs is what they want and what they love.
The long legs.
So I ran that privilege in the ground. On the flip side of it, though, I felt disconnected from my body a lot of the time because in other spaces, I didn't like the fact that I was taller than other people. Or sometimes when it would come in dance and my spatial awareness wasn't as good as it was as I was going through acting school and learning more about spatial awareness. I was just like, I remember one time I knocked somebody out in the face, like doing a dance move where I had to like extend my arm. And I was just so embarrassed, literally for weeks, because I'm just like, I don't know my own strength. Like, I don't know my own body. I knocked her out. She was like, and she kind of tripped back, but I was just like, yeah, I didn't know my own strength. but yeah, now I'm thinking about my connection to my body and like how the thing about posture and how like I move through space, or one of my teachers would be like, use your full range of motion, like straighten your whole arm, straighten your whole leg when you're doing something because you have that reach. And I'm just like, but I want to be shorter. Like I want to appear shorter sometimes was my thought. And now like I'm a bit more confident in who I am and how I look. Tall. That's just what it is. I'm not like the tallest out there, but you know, above average height for a woman, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, you know how it is. 5'9" and above, or 5'8" and above. Yeah, but 5'10" club. People be so surprised when they meet me, especially if
in real life.
Yeah, in real life. Yeah, after Zoom, they're like, even the person I'm cat sitting for, she was like, "You're so tall."
But it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing because some people are just short. Yeah. Like some people are, especially the women who are just like, oh, everybody's supposed to be this. I'm just like, no, they're not. No, they're not. Yeah. People can be whatever height. How about that? Like, okay, let's go into the game because obviously we could talk about this forever. We're going to do a final activity as we close out the podcast called Old TV Big Three, but you can also do movies if you want. So you're going to take characters from a TV show and designate which one is your sun, your moon, and your rising. And if you want to talk about why you chose that, I would love to hear. So yeah, astrology in the house.
Wait, it's a game, but only I'm going? Are you going too?
I can go, but this part is focused on you.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
so I'm going to do the L word.
Yes.
The OG L word.
Okay, good.
Not the reboot that got canceled. That I have thoughts about.
Ooh.
Okay. So, I've also wrote this down because I forget.
Are they good thoughts?
What thoughts?
About the one that got canceled?
It's a mix.
Okay.
It's a mix.
Okay.
I have a lot of critiques.
Okay.
I will say. Did you watch the L word?
I didn't watch the reboot.
No, like the old one.
I watched the old one, but
yeah.
I don't think I ever finished it, and it was kind of something
You ever finished it?
I don't remember. It was like
the end is so wild.
It was something I was doing in secret back then, that type of thing. So I can't remember.
Yeah, I watched it in college, so it wasn't really a secret.
Oh, okay.
But
I need to go back and watch it for sure.
Yeah, my friend was like, "You need to watch the L Word," and I was like, "What is that?" And then I started watching, and
Changed
I
your
realized
life,
it was like a whole rite of passage thing to watch the L Word. Anyway, okay, so I identify as an Alice Sun, a Tina Moon, and a Bet Rising.
Okay.
I feel like, the Bet Rising is probably the most obvious because I feel like that's kind of how I dress. Mm-hmm. Like even today.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can't help it. I like that style.
Yeah, it works.
I came in with my long leather jacket.
I know. I was like, that's so cute.
That is very Bet. Yeah. I just love Alice. I always love like for me, I love the quirky character in TV shows. Like I love Rose in the Golden Girls, which I know you haven't seen, and I wasn't going to
I said, what's the difference between the Golden Girls and the Gilmore Girls? And you said, what about Gossip Girl? Like that, because I was like, they all have G's, and they're all girls.
Yeah. Yeah, they all are girls, yeah. Anyway, yeah, so I love, Rose in The Golden Girls, or Sinclair in Living Single.
Okay.
Yeah, so Alice...
People have done Living Single, but nobody has said Sinclair.
What?
Yeah, I was surprised about that, actually.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna say Sinclair.
Yeah. For your son?
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I really like her.
I like her, too.
And she's the most romantic, and she's so, good-hearted.
I think so, too.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So for the L Word, Alice is that. And she also just, knows everything. She has the chart. Mm-hmm. And, and then, even in the reboot, she kind of, she kind of gets in front of the camera and does entertainment, which I'd prefer to be behind the camera, but that's kind of similar. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and then I don't really know why I said I'm a Tina Moon. I feel like she's emotional and somewhat level-headed. I don't know.
The emotional thing.
Am I Tina Moon?
I was about to say, the emotional thing, there can be some truth to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't really know. I'm definitely not ashamed.
What is your actual moon in astrology?
Libra.
Libra moon.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely not ashamed. I'm definitely not a, who's the Dana? Yeah. So I feel like, I could say some of the characters who were, there for a hot second, but I don't think I'm them either. I'm not, anyway, sorry.
Now you're trying to show
too much. But yeah, I'm definitely an Alice Sun and a Bet Rising. The moon, I don't really know.
Also, you can be a double something.
I could be a double, but I don't think I'm a double.
Okay.
So, I'll just stick with Tina.
Okay. I like it. I'm all for that.
Yeah.
I think the Bet Rising is, yes.
Yeah.
I love when people are so, aware and accurate with that type of thing.
Yeah,
the Rising is such a cool one to me.
Who would you be from that show?
From that show?
If you remember.
I don't know.
I feel like you're also an Alice Sun.
Yeah.
You might even be an Alice Rising.
I'm trying to remember. I remember I guess I would say no, not earnest. What's the word?
Alice was really chatty and funny.
Yeah,
quirky.
The personality.
She knew everything about everyone. Mm-hmm. She had the chart and she would map out who was dating who, how everyone was connected.
Yes, the orchestrator.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I feel like that would be a good rising for me.
Yeah.
Probably Sun too. Just like you said.
I forgot about Jenny.
Which one was Jenny?
Jenny was the one. Jenny was the one who kind of started the show. She was the new person in the scene. She was messy. She was very chaotic.
I don't think I'm Jenny. I don't think I'm Jenny. I cringe at being the chaos. I'll witness the chaos, but being the chaos, I don't know. We're there on that.
Yeah.
I'm just like, we're drawing to a close. It's been fun. Like, how do you feel?
Good. This has been fun.
Yeah, I was just like,
thank you for having me.
You did great. Like, you can't. No, it was a great conversation, and I'm so, like, I love the tangents. So I was just like, that's going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's talking to friends. It's getting stuff out. There are lights and cameras, but no. It was like cameras, but it's just a kiki.
Yeah, it's casual.
But yes, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. And thank you, viewers and listeners, for watching and listening. And I want you all to please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Tune in next week as we talk all about mental health. That's a big one. That's a big one, and a conversation that I'm very, very excited to have. So you don't want to miss it. Be there. All right. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
232425 is a podcast produced and hosted by Joska. Graphic design by Joska. Executive producer, director of photography, and editor, Dante Charles Critchlow. Music by Fadal Moore. A special thanks to Anthony and Celintia Moore, Constance Moore, and Harold Hickson for their contributions to production. And a special thanks to viewers like you who create the community of my wildest dreams. Thank you.
232425 TV.